Good afternoon. Right, as promised, I'm going to show you how to do your own value of grayscale for people that are working or thinking of working with graphite so that you can get all the different tones and get a more realistic looking image. Now, I've already done one. This is for my set of, this one I've used my set of Faber-Castell. I have a set of Faber-Castell 9000 green ones, and then for the actual darker one sections, I've actually got the pit graphite, which are the black ones. I've got them in the 10B, 12B, and 14B, but I haven't put them directly on the paper. Underneath of those, we have got a base layer of the 8B of the Faber-Castell 9000. Okay, so it's gone along. If you look here, we've gone from the 4H 9000 to HB. So they're all the hard leads of the pencil. Then we go on to the softer ones, which are the B, 2B, 3B, 4B, 5B, 6B, 7B, and 8B. Okay, so that's all of those. There's 3 layers, and each layer is blended before we put on another layer. And as you see, as we're getting further down here, you're getting little bits of, you can see little bits of grains of the graphite there. Okay, and then when we come on to the black ones, you can see a little bit more, but so they tend to blend better with the brush. So I've got a touch master here, so we can actually move it around a little bit better. But again, under this, as I say, we do have a layer of the 8B. Otherwise, the darkness will be a bit too stark, and it is supposed to be sort of a slight change in colour. Let me just pull this blind down a little bit. You can't really see. There we go. Okay. So then what we've done is we've put the 8B green pencil under these 4 here, and then we've put the 10B black, 12 and 14B, so you can see those get a little bit darker. And then the very end box, what I've got there is the Conte Paris Noir 3B, which is more of a charcoaly pencil, but it's not shining, it's just right to put on the depth for the black. Okay. But again, if you put that on its own, it wouldn't look right. It's hard to blend. So building it up with the base layer as the 8B works. So I've made a grayscale, gray value scale. I've put all the information on there, and I've put the actual brand that I'm doing and what I've done it on, which is the Arches Hot Press 300 GSM. Okay, and all of these rectangles, all I've done is I've done the rectangles on this one. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 rectangles. They're all 2 centimeters across and 3.5 centimeters down. And then I've just labeled them underneath and all the information that I need on there. So then I've got this. So whichever pencil set I'm using, and because it's on the edge there, I can move it across the image and see which is the best value. So looking for the value, what's in the image, and then I can see which pencils to layer up. Okay, so these have all got 3 layers, all individual layers are blended, and then 3 layers is a very light pressure though. It must be very light pressure. And then what that does is it gives you more depth. It gives depth to the image that you're doing. So we're going to do the same today with the Stedler brand. And then I've got another one to do for the Caran d'Ache brand of pencils. These are the most commonly used pencils by most people and by myself as well. But I must admit, I do like the Faber-Castell brand as well. So for this one, we're using the first one's across. You can see I've already started it. We start with the 4H, got a 2H, a H, HB, then we go on to an F, B, 2B, 4B, and 5B. Then we stop with the 5B blue lumograph, which is like this. And then we turn to the black lumograph here. Okay. So we turn to them and we go from HB, 2B, 4B, 6B, 7B, 8B, and then the last square again is the Conti again. But these under here, the ones all here from the HB black, so all of the blacks will have a 5B as their base layer. Okay. Again, this is done on Arches paper, hot press. It's got a nice smooth edge on it. So I've done the 4H, the 2H, H, and HB. So I'm just going to start with the F. And I'll show you a couple, and it's just a repeat process that you keep doing. So we'll do the F and the B, and then I'll finish off to the 5B and come back to you, and then I'll show you the rest of them here. Now for blending, I've got I started off with the lighter layers. I start with the lighter values. I started with a tissue, just folded into a little piece like that. Get the point, put your finger in, and then just do little circular motions that blends it. You can use cotton wool buds as well, and you can also use pencil stumps. They're good. I use the Derwent range. To clean them, just either rub it on a piece of normal paper like photocopier paper, or if you get a sanding block like that, just pull it on the sanding block and it takes off the graphite so that it's clean for you to use. You should always do that when you're going into a different value pencil. Okay. The other blending tools you could use are brushes. So I've got here, this one's a makeup brush. It's a soft brush. That is like a shader, a short shader. I've actually got two. One's a little bit longer than the other one. So if you look, that's one and that's another one. They're two soft brushes. Then I've got this one, which is a sort of medium brush, and this is the Master Touch watercolor. It's a Filbert brush there. This is a size 2. I do have some bigger ones, like a size 6, I think it is. For larger areas, yeah, that's the size 6. That's for larger areas. And then I also have some of these. They're like I've got like a point on them as well. I sometimes use them to get into the corners and things. I've got tortillas, and I've got the blending stumps. The tortillas are slightly different than the blending stumps. It's sort of like they're hollow. They're made out of a bit more like, it's not as soft. They're not as soft as the blending stump. That's the blending stump. And then, as you can see, they're hollow, the tortillas. It's got a hollow base. It's made a bit more like card, really, but they're good for going into corners as well. I've got an eraser here that I use to tidy up my edges. It's a battery operated, and I can do it either by switching the battery on, or I can just use it as a normal sort of rubber across, but it's got a nice fine point. Okay, and then obviously another thing is to keep remembering to brush your paper, as you can get bits of pastel the graphite grit onto your paper. So every so often give it a nice brush with a big mop brush like this to get rid of that. Okay, so let's go on to the F. So this is the F pencil. Okay, it's got a nice point. Now I'm holding it as far back as I can, and I've got it in between those two fingers there. But as I say, it's just the weight of the pencil. And then I'm sort of holding it out of the way. I'm holding it more or less horizontal to the page. Very, very light layer. So it's just the weight of the pencil, really. And I'm using large oval strokes just to try and get a smoother coverage. You can use strokes in all different directions if you want, cross hatching, whatever you find works best for you. That's the important thing. But it's got, as long as you're using very light pressure, we don't want heavy pressure. Okay. So that's the first layer. I'm going to use the blending stump. And like that, like with the pencil, I'm using a very soft pressure, and I'm just using circular motions. I don't know if you can quite see it there on the screen, but where I've just done the circular motion there, it's a lot smoother And up here where it's still, you can see a lot of the grain. You'll see it more as we progress through the layers. Okay. And just make that as smooth as you can. Go over it with a blender a couple of times. So that's the first layer. Now I'm using the second layer. Try and keep these edges fairly tidy. Again, lightest pressure. And I'm using large oval strokes to try and get as even a blend as possible. Okay. Check that I've covered that more or less evenly. There we go. So that's the second layer. Again, I'm going to use the stump. I'm just going to clean it. And again, just do some circular motion. Oh, you can definitely see there the difference between the unblended and the blended. Just do that a couple of times. We're pushing the pigment in and out of the paper. I'm not putting too much pressure on because I don't want to kill the tooth of the paper. Okay. So this is the third and final layer. You find that this one is slightly darker than the rectangle previous rectangle. Okay, so make sure I've got even coverage again. And then back with the blending stump, light pressure, using circular motions. And just blending that in. There we go. Oh, you can see that is slightly darker than the previous rectangle. Okay, so you do exactly the same going across. So what I'll do now is I'll just finish off because it's just the same process. So I'll move across and finish with the 5B there, and then we'll go on and I'll come back and we'll do this bit. So I'll see you in a short while. Okay. Right then, welcome back. So as you can see, we've gone from the 4H to HBF, B, 2B, 4B, and then the 5B. Okay, 3 layers on each. As I say, the process is the same, so it was a bit repetitive just watching me. But now we're moving on to the black lumograph now. These are a bit harder to blend. They're not quite as easy to blend as the blue ones, but they do produce a lot darker colour, which we're trying to get now from this to the black, sort of a blackish colour. So, but what I do with these is I actually do a base layer of the 5B blue lumograph. So we're going to do one layer of the 5B, very light pressure again. So I'm holding the pencil far back and it's the weight of the pencil touching the paper basically. So it's on a scale, I'd say a 2 on the pressure scale, if no more than a 2, or 1 if you can. That just comes with practice. So these little technique tips and that and doing these, practicing these will help you a lot. So I'm going to blend this with the blending stump. I'm just going to clean it on some sandpaper. Okay, that's some of the rub. And then circular motions. We've got a base layer there. So the first one out of the black is the HB, okay, which is this one here. Now, I sometimes use this when I've got the drawing on the paper that I'm about to, of the project that I'm about to start, and I use this HB black to put in some of the lines that I need, that I know the areas are going to be darker, so it will be covered up. But with light pressure, I put some of the lines in, like around the eyes and some of the crease marks, you know, and where I've got definite lines that I don't want to lose, because when you blend over this, it doesn't smudge as easy as like the blue do. So, you know, the lines stay fairly central, so that's fine. So now I'm going to start using the black HB. So again, same thing, holding the pencil far back like that. And then I'm using the HB. And I'm just using some like circular or oval type moves. So it's with a light pressure, so it's quite evenly distributed on the rectangle. But when you get to that edge, it's a bit harder because of the edge. But I turn it round and just literally put a bit of a line coming down and then join it up that way there. Okay. And just check that you've got a nice even coverage. I'm actually going to use the brush. I've got the Master Touch Fill Bare brush. This is a Pro Art brush, and it moves the pigment around a little bit easier. Because this dark pigment's a lot harder to blend. Okay. I've got a little bit of a blemish there. So I'll see if I can lift it. It doesn't look like it's going to lift. Might just be a blemish on the paper itself. Try and blend that back. Okay. And then going up in with another layer. Well, let's get this, the edges sort of in first. So light pressure. And just do a light pressure across this top one. And then going down here. Again, nice even coverage. Back with the brush. If you need a harder brush, I've got an acrylic one here, which is a bit harder. So you want to try that one if it's going to move the pigment around a bit more. You can see there all the bits of dust coming off, which can cause issues on your well, I've got some specks of dust on there. Excuse me. Just going to try and lift light pressure, just lift some of them off. And go back to the brush. Blend them in a bit more. There. And then do another layer. Now HB again. Make sure the pencil's more or less horizontal. Okay, light pressure. And then back and blend. I say try all the different blending techniques. You might find that you prefer one over the other. The blending tools are there to help enhance the work and make it easier for you. So And go. I'll just finish it up with the blending stump. Okay. As you can see, it's just slightly darker, which that's the name of the game. We're just supposed to go from light to dark and just a hint. So there is a bit of a difference there. So what I'll do is I'll go back over that and back over these a little bit, but fine as well. So again, now onto the next one. Again, one layer of the blue, 5B blue. If you want, you could just go over all of these rectangles like this with one layer of the blue, give them a right good blend, and then put your different pencils on. Just remember, as long as you can see the lines for the rectangles that you've got there. Okay. Feel emotions, out pressure. Might as well just go all the way across now. And blend all of this area in. As long as you're happy that you've got even coverage. And then blend. I'll blend all of this area in circular motions. A clean blending stump. You can see there how it's blending it all out. You could do each rectangular individual, it's up to you. Or because of the base layer all being the same, you could do them all with a 5B. You keep checking that they all look even. Okay, so we've got all the 5B there. So now we're just working across. So we want the 2B in the black. So we're working with the black lumograph now. So this one's the 2B. You will feel a difference when you're putting the black ones down. They do seem a little bit harder to lay. They're a lot grainier. But they are perfect for getting the darker values that you're looking for. But as I say, it works best with a layer of the blue underneath. So when you're working up in layers, that's what you're looking for. Got quite a bit of disruption in my paper today. Don't know why. Let me try and see if I can get that off that way. Right. Just put a little bit of the 5B back down. That's it. Let me try now. Clean the blending stump. There's the first layer of the 2B black. Yeah, it's a lot harder. It's harder to blend. It's not as easy with the black, but so I mean you could actually use by using more pressure with the blues, you could probably work it up that way. I mean the blues do go right up to I'm not sure if it's have a look which that one goes up to. I think it goes up to a 12B. So you could just carry on with the blues if you haven't got the blacks. And as I say, even if you've only got up to the 5B, you can layer it up and layer it up until you get the desired effect. You just probably won't get it as dark as you do using the blacks. So again, I've got the pencil horizontal to the paper and I'm just the brush again. some of this dust away. Now looking back, I think the HB needs to be slightly darker. So just another layer. I might have been a bit lighter with the pressure on that than what I was with the 2B. There we go. So you can see there is a difference there. So now we're moving on to the 4B. So light pressure, circular strokes. Make sure you're getting even coverage. Okay. With this acrylic brush. So this is a bit harder, this brush, so you can move the pigment. You can see it moving around a bit more now. Okay. Go over with the blending stump. Okay. So the layer. You can see as we go in now. Let's have a look. Right, and then it's just back here. Okay, so we've got there from 4H and through. You can see it changing just that little bit darker each time. So I'll finish this off to the 8B and then we'll go. Welcome back. So let's have a look at what we've got here. Excuse the light coming through. It's let me just pull this blind down. See if I get this blind down a bit. Oh, right. There we go. So if I hold this up here, whoops. So I've got it coming from the 4H. So as you can see, there's just a slight change in each of the grades and values of the pencil as we come across. Then we turned into the blacks, which had a layer of the blue lumograph underneath. And you see those getting darker. Then this last square, what I've done so far on this last square here, I've actually done, is this, what's that one? No, can't get it behind there. Right, just, so on this last one here, I've got a layer of the blue, but I've also put a layer of the 8 black. And now we're going to use this. It's a soft, it's like a charcoal pencil, but it is black. And it's the Conte Paris Paris Noir 3B. So this will be the darkest value. So this is really soft when you're putting it on. So just again, like before, just do it in small circular motions with your pressure really light, so holding it as far back as you can. Okay. And then I'm going to use the brush. Have a look at this. So this is one of the shader brushes. It's a soft brush. And as you can see, it does move so you may have to keep blowing it so that you don't get any bits of it across. That's a short shader. Okay. It's a makeup brush which you use as a shader. And then I'm just going to put another layer on. It's very light. It's a shader again. Circular motions. And see there, you can see there it's just literally gone into that square there a bit, but see if we can get it off there, and then use a blender and just see if we can. That's it. Okay. Well, that's the blackest colour, which, yes, it is a little bit too black there, but we can just go back over those if you want to. But I only use the Conti, so the real, like sometimes in the pupil and where there's really, really dark shadows. So there you have created yourself a pencil pencil grades, grayscale of your own, with your own brand of pencils all the way across, and you'll see. So then when you use that on an image, it's easy for you to well, let's have a look here on this image. I've got an image here, a little bit dusty. Let me just, no, I don't want that. Just go back here. So I've got a grayscale image here. So if I'm looking at, say, the young lad's face there, I can, let me see if I can hold it up a bit so you can see it better. No, you're not going to really see it. But you just slide it across there and you will sort of get an idea of which value you want. And then you work outwards, and from the darker areas, it will get lighter. Obviously, these children here have got very light skin. So that I can see it here. It's just I've got a lot of sunlight coming through here today. So that's the chart that I've got made up. I don't think it's going to work if I turn that light up either. So yeah, it's sunlight. It's playing on there. I've got some sunlight coming through here. I need to get the blind sorted. But yes, there we go, from the 4H all the way up there. Okay, and then just make yourself some little notes. And then the last thing you need to do, just so that it stays put, I'm using some fixative, some spray fixative. Do it in a very, very well ventilated area and give it a spray and let that settle, dry off. And there you have your colour grayscale chart. And as I say, I'm going to do another one for the Caran d'Ache pencils, and then I've got all my sets of pencils done. Thank you for watching. I hope it's been useful for you. If you've got any questions, just contact me either by email or by phone, and I'm happy to help. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much.